Hey, all right, there we go. We are live. Do a little chat check here. Make sure that's working. It is working on. So obviously, Joey Logano wins the race, but Brad Keselowski was right there. Like he was right there. He was on the cusp. Joey Logano winning, big deal. Like he locks himself into the playoffs, so we know he will be able to defend his championship for sure because he will be in the playoffs. He breaks the Auto Traders curse. I don't think there has been a Penske win in the Auto Traders paint scheme yet, so I think he breaks the Auto Traders curse. And he gets the win in Atlanta, a track that he sort of dominated as a guy in the Legend Car series and stuff like that. So just trying out something new here, doing sort of a West Coast friendly stream here. So we'll see what happens with this one. Let me know down in the chat below if you can hear me. Or if the chat is working. So we'll get that cleaned up. But yeah, definitely a good race for Joey Logano. Hey, there we go. NASCAR guy. What's up, man? Yeah, Joey Logano gets the win. Brad Keselowski second. Like I said, man, Brad Keselowski's so close. He has brought RFK back. Of course, they got the win last season with Chris Buescher. But Brad Keselowski has had really good speed to start this season off with, aside from the LA Clash, which I don't think they put a lot into. Christopher Bell, once again, a guy that doesn't get talked about a lot, but Christopher Bell in that hunt. And once again, Tony Stewart talking about Christopher Bell very glowingly. I think sign of what could be in the future for SHR. He could be somebody they're looking at to possibly get as a free agent. How about Corey LaJoie? Another top 5 for Corey LaJoie. Corey LaJoie showing that if you give him good equipment, he is a competitor. Hopefully, they can continue to get good equipment at Spire, or somebody offers Corey LaJoie a better ride going forward. Tyler Reddick, another top 5. He needed another good run. So starting to dig his way out of that hole that he dug for himself early in the season. But like I said, I fully expect Tyler Reddick to get a win. Denny Hamlin with a top 6. So Denny Hamlin doing, Denny Hamlin things. He's going to need a few more of those to dig himself out of that little bit of a hole he got with that 25-point penalty. But that one, he's appealing that one as well. Ryan Blaney 7th. He came at one point. I think he was like 2 or 3 laps down at one point. So he came back from that. Ty Gibbs with his best finish in the Cup career with a 9th. And Kyle Busch recovers from that wreck early on and finishes 10th. So definitely a good race for all those guys. But let's see what you guys want to talk about in the chat here. Philip saying I can hear you. I appreciate it. Go PK go. Yeah, that was a pretty good run for sure. NASCAR guy. Average racing at best, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, so the race itself was not great. Had a good finish. The last stage was definitely the best stage, but the first 2 stages were less than memorable, to be kind. But when they started racing for real, it's like they were basically just riding for the first couple stages or whatever, and then at the very end, they really ratcheted up the intensity for sure. And that's when you saw a lot better racing at the end. I'll say the third stage, or the last and final stage, was decent, but overall the race was sort of meh. I do agree with that, but we did get a good finish without a caution, thank God. So for sure, that race was great, a lot cleaner, and we'll put together better than ever. Thought it would be, says Bumblebee. So there you go. It definitely didn't have a ton of cautions, but the cautions it did have were memorable. But like I said, I feel like the first stage, at least, they were just riding, trying to figure out what the cars would do, and that is and it's not necessarily their fault, but practice, I guess, got rained out. Even if they were going to have practice, I can't remember. I don't think they were even going to have practice. But that is definitely another one of those deals where if they had practice, a lot of this stuff would have been shaken out. And Clint Boyer got epically trolled by saying practice doesn't matter, and then everybody on Twitter pulled up his practice stats. Showing he had his worst career season ever without practice. So practice does matter, regardless of what the talking heads tell you. T-Van, what's up, man? Good to see you on here. Jesse Bateman, what about the late model world? The late model world's going good, Jesse. Good to see you on here, dude. Craig Moore, once again, with a 5th and an 8th. Unfortunately, Jason Barnes, man. I hate it for him. Not that it was necessarily his fault. Like, he got piled into, but that's a tough pill to swallow. He's going to be paying some money out of pocket there. No doubt about it. Beast 1624. Hey guys, just got back from 2 weeks in Arizona visiting the daughter and family. I've missed these BB live streams. Good to have you back on here, Beast. Glad you got to visit your daughter out there. That's cool. I like Arizona myself from my time, a little bit of time I spent out there this past year. King Corpusalo says Hendrick better buy out those penalties. Those DNFs won't help. Yeah, so definitely Rick Hendrick was supposed to be on the show to talk about the penalties. He was a no-show in the Fox booth. They sent up Jeff Gordon, and apparently, I don't know, just from I didn't really pay attention to it, but from the feedback I've gotten, it was not well received. Me personally, I think the best Hendrick can hope for in that deal is to get him reduced. But I think they are dead to rights on that one. I don't think they're going to get any help on that deal at all. I think they're pretty much going to get hit with the same penalty RFK got hit with, and I think it's going to stand at the end of the day, unless they've got something really good in those emails between them and NASCAR that can really bail them out. But I don't know. Philip Kinnaman, how about Corey LaJoy? Corey LaJoy, man, that's awesome. I love it when an underfunded team like that. Speaking of underfunded teams, we're an underfunded team, and we did good this weekend at South Boston as well. But yeah, I love it when an underfunded team like Spire and Corey LaJoy get something going. Corey can definitely drive, and when they give him something to underneath of him to drive, he definitely gets it done, no doubt about it. Y'all call trying to stay out of trouble, bad racing. LOL says Bumblebee. Yeah, we're NASCAR fans. We're fickle. We want it all, and we want it now. Let's see. NASCAR just isn't what it used to be, says T Van. Yeah, I mean sometimes, but I do definitely remember races at Atlanta that were. Atlanta was typically known, same as Darlington. It was always good at the end, but sometimes somebody could take off with the lead in the middle of the race. And smoke everybody. But then by the end of the race, you would have one car that was good in the short run, one car that was good in the long run, and then by the end of the tire run or whatever, at least by the end of the race, you usually had a pretty good finish at Atlanta, 9 times out of 10, if I remember correctly. Let's see. I call it being smart, says Bumblebee. Yeah, I mean, it's all good. Wish we could have did this earlier. I got to be up at 4 a.m. So if I fall asleep, see y'all Tuesday. Oh, that's all. Don't feel obligated. Just something I'm trying. Something a little different here with the start time. Congratulations to Bubba Pollard and Joey Logano, though. Yeah, so Bubba Pollard, he came back and won the Rattler. Ty Majeski started in the back of the field. He was going for the extra money. I think he would have got $35,000 if he won that race. And he led most of it. He worked his way up through the field, led most of it. Then with about 25 or 30 to go, Ty Majeski fell back and Bubba Pollard took over. Ty, I guess I smoked his tires, used them up or whatever, and Bubba Pollard didn't. But yeah, that was that. But Ty Majeski, he went for it, but Bubba Pollard got the deal done, so good for him. Let's see here. I think Tony should go after Corey as well as Seabill. Yeah, I think at this point, you have to at least put Corey LaJoy on that list of drivers you might want to get over there. He does bring some funding at least. And he definitely has shown he can get it done when he needs to get it done. BJ McLeod had a really fast car, OJ and Toothpaste says. Yeah, he did. But of course, we're talking about Earth 2 here. We're upside down, opposite world, whatever you want to call it. But he was no match, of course. Or was he a match? Let's see here. Let's see. Wait. Oh, no. BJ with another dub there. Christopher Buescher pushing him. Rare off day for Ty Dillon. Instead of finishing in the 30s, he was in the 20s here. I think he got like a 23rd or something. Yeah, 23rd for Ty Dillon. So he's going to give up the Earth 2 points lead or reverse points lead to old BJ McLeod if he doesn't tighten up here. Of course, perennial all-star Cody Ware always in the running for the points lead on Earth 2. Let's see here. Did you hear about the movie Constipated coming out? It hasn't come out yet, says RJ. So there you go. Another dad joke from RJ. OJ and Toothpaste. BJ didn't get the W, but I think he had the car. Says OJ and Toothpaste. Well, according to the stats I'm looking here on my Earth 2, he did finish dead last, which would give him the win in Earth 2. So let's see here. Sven Larson, National Anthem. National Anthem I don't do for these. I just do them for the regular pre-recorded shows. I haven't figured out how to load up videos to start these off with yet. But when I get there, we'll definitely have the start thing when I figure all that stuff out. I do have a switcher. I just got to figure out how to hook it up and use it properly. And at some point I will test it. I was supposed to test it like a month ago, I think, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So we'll figure it out at some point, Sven. But yeah, the regular shows will still have the national anthem at the beginning. Eric Jones passed so many people on the last lap. Dang, says OJ and Tooth. Yeah, I don't know where he came from and how he got where he got, but golly, out of nowhere, man. Like Eric Jones with that 8th place finish, I don't think I saw him above 25th place all day. So for Eric Jones to show up at the end, that was pretty epic, to be totally honest. Wasn't expecting that. And to be honest, Legacy Motorsports, Legendary Motorsports, formerly Petty GMS. I don't even remember what their name is, but they have had a rough start, so they definitely needed that 8th place finish as well. He was sort of in the same boat as Tyler Reddick. They both definitely need some good finishes, and definitely both need wins because they've dug themselves quite a points hole if they're just going to try to point their way into the playoff or the playoffs. Still don't understand the Eric Almirola strategy, 70 plus lap tire, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, that's a great point. That is one that I'm still scratching my head about too. Like, I understand going one cycle when you know you've got a stage break or something like that. So if you want to stretch them that far, or even just taking 2 tires, but pushing the right side tires that far, I just didn't get that, and I didn't see it going any other way than it went. And the fact that it blew the right front tire let me know that the car was really tight. So the fact, because normally you would, if the car was even balanced or if the car was loose, you would blow out the right rear. So blowing out the right front tire, knowing you had a tight car, and then pushing it that far on tires is something that really kind of shocked me too. Because if you knew the car was tight, I don't think you would really be pushing it on tires that much. So I don't understand that call at all. Maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe something happened, but I don't. I didn't agree with that call, and that's of course me being in the dark because I'm not their tire guy. I don't know how these cup tires work or anything like that. But it did really shock me that they went that long on a set of tires. I didn't understand the strategy at all. So I'm with you there, Joseph. T-Van, I would love to see NASCAR run old-style cars for the All-Star race and have the top 10 from every single series run the All-Star race. That would be pretty cool if they were all in 57 Crown Vics and 57 Chevy Bel Airs and whatever Dodge had in the 50s. I'm not sure. My Dodge knowledge doesn't quite go that far back. And Toyota could just pick a car, I guess. I don't know. What do you think of Larson in the number 10 with contact? Toyota had cars in the 50s. I don't think they had them over here yet. What did you think of the contact with Larson and the 10? I mean, it's just a bad deal, man. Like, I didn't understand the strategy of the 10 car. So they put the 10 car in a bad situation anyway, because you're going really fast to be blowing out a tire at that track. And then, of course, I wasn't happy that Kyle Larson got taken out. So, I mean, but that is what it is. Like, it's restrictor plate racing, super speedway racing, whatever you want to call it. You halfway have to expect that your driver is going to be taken out because half the time, your driver is taken out at these type of tracks. So I wasn't shocked, but it was a bummer, no doubt about that. Typical Kyle Larson super speedway race, he wrecked, right? Unfortunately, OJ and Toothpaste, Eric Jones had some NOS hidden in that car. Yeah, they hit it in the frame rails. He saved it for the last lap, apparently, because like I said, I don't know where that dude came from. Like the best I saw him running all day was in the 20s, I think. Got the post race. Now let's go. BB, appreciate it, Kevin S. OJ and Toothpaste, did you see Jeff Gordon's interview about the penalty before the race with Chris Myers? I didn't see it, but a lot of people have messaged me about it, and they said that it didn't go well in their opinion. Like, he was sort of grasping at straws, citing the Penske tire deal when they widened the wheels or whatever for safety, essentially for safety issues, because they weren't going on to the locking pins properly and stuff like that. So they said they were grasping at straws because that was a completely different situation. That was more of a safety issue, whereas Hendrick is whatever you want to make of that. Like, a lot of people just think it's straight up performance. That's what Elton Sawyer said. Without us seeing actually what Hendrick did to the air intakes or the louvers or whatever you want to call them, it's going to be hard to say what they were doing. And of course, NASCAR never really releases that information. That's going to be on Hendrick to show us what they were actually doing to them. So we'll have to see here. Amarola was willing to be Lightning McQueen. Yeah, that's a good analogy there, Philip. What's with the late live stream? I love it though, even on the East Coast, says Napa Racer fan. Well, the pre-race is it's hard for the West Coast fans to wake up. So I figured I would be fair and irritate the East Coast fans too. So now I'm irritating both sides of the coast equally. That's what that's all about. Joshua Thaxton says a lot of good drivers spun out without contact. I bet the pavement wears out in a few years and plate style racing will be the end at Atlanta. Yeah, so I think you got a good point there. I think as this track wears, they probably need to go away from the plate package on this particular track, because as the track wears, you're not even going to be able to have two groove racing, because it's going to be so abrasive to race on the inside that the inside line is just never going to be there. So they probably just need to go back, and essentially it'll sort of be like old Atlanta, even though they've reconfigured it. So I think eventually they will have to at least think about getting rid of the plate race package for this track, but we'll see what they do going forward. But I do agree with you. I think if they keep this package, it's not going to be good for the racing product at the track. OJ and Toothpaste, do you like this new Atlanta track or the old one? I like the old one, like the really, really old one, like the original one, like where Dale Jarrett and Morgan Shepherd put on that heck of good finish at the very end, probably like 91 or 92. So if you haven't seen the end of that race, check it out. 91 or 92 Atlanta, Morgan Shepherd, Dale Jarrett, just type that in YouTube. One of the best finishes of all time in a NASCAR race. Which drivers snore the most, says RJ Banzma. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that one, RJ. I would have to say maybe Kyle Busch because he wears the Breathe Right strip, even though that's just a sponsorship deal. So he would be my number one guest for that as far as that goes. How about taking our dude Larson? How about taking out our dude Larson? I think Larson had been doing good with drafting, just some late wrecks. Yeah, this was actually Eric taking out Larson. I got you, buddy. Yeah, Kevin, I think Larson was actually racing this race pretty smart. But once again, it's just one of those deals where, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you get caught up in somebody else's junk. I still don't understand the decision to stay out there that long on tires. Like, I guess they saw something we didn't see, but especially they had to know that car was tight, right? So if you've got a tight race car, you got to know that you're grinding off tires more so than you would be if it was closer to being balanced or even loose. So I just don't understand the call there. It's baffling. So it's kind of irritating from that perspective. But it's a plate race. So if you're a Larson fan, Larson and plate races, they don't always work out. So it is what it is. I was halfway expecting it. OJ and Toothpaste says, are you excited for COTA? I think COTA is going to be like it's sort of NASCAR's second all-star race because you've got all these international drivers and drivers from other disciplines coming into that. So it's almost going to be like NASCAR's second all-star race, even though they didn't have it on the schedule like that. And that's basically, if I was NASCAR, that's what I would market it as, because not only that, you're going to have so many cars there that some people are going to have to go home. So qualifying is actually going to matter. So you're actually going to have sort of a Daytona or Indianapolis 500 situation where qualifying day is actually going to matter. You're actually going to probably get pretty good ratings for that. So I think if they marketed COTA the right way, it can be one of the most watched NASCAR races of the season. And I hope they do that because you've got a built-in all-star element to it, and you've got qualifying that matters, which is going to make the whole weekend important. And hopefully they give them some practice that weekend as well. And if it rains, oh my goodness, if it rains, it's going to be anybody's chance to win that race. We saw Ty Dillon put on the rain tires first that one year that it rained, and he was basically about to lap the field. And there's no cautions for the stage breaks. So, and that's the only thing that really bit Ty Dillon's strategy call there was that stage break. He won that stage, and then everybody had a chance. But if they hadn't been saved by that stage caution, anything could have happened with that race. So, fingers crossed that you get at least some rain for COTA. I mean, probably unlikely because it is Texas, but we'll see. So did Harvick wreck, or did the air get sucked off the back end? Says King Corp. From what I saw on the TV screen, Ross Chastain didn't make any contact with him. I think it's just another situation. You saw Bubba Wallace by himself spin and lose it because the car was so loose. I think Kevin Harvick's car was really close to being loose, and I think Ross Chastain being back there just that close took just enough air off of it. But because it's Ross Chastain, people are going to, be either way about it. You either like Ross Chastain or you don't. There's no in between. And if you don't like Ross Chastain, he caused that wreck. If you do like Ross Chastain, you're like, he made no contact with him. Kevin Harvick's car was just loose. And I tend to say Kevin Harvick's car was just loose, and Ross Chastain being back there didn't help anything. And at the end of the day, that's just plate racing. And I say that because we saw the exact same thing with Bubba Wallace, even though no one was even that close to Bubba Wallace when it happened to him, right? And we saw there were other cars in this race that sort of spun out by themselves as well, or at least got uncomfortable. I won't say not all of them spun out, but you saw if your car tended to be more on the loose side, that it was a lot harder to handle. And that's maybe why, some of these guys were setting these cars up to be tighter, like we saw with the Smithfield's car of Eric Almirola. Of course, that bit him because his crew decided to leave him out there, in my opinion, unreasonably long on that set of tires. But they were going for it. They were going for the win, but I just don't see how you could leave somebody out there that long. But yeah, I don't think it was necessarily Ross Chastain's fault. I think it's just a product of this racing package and Kevin Harvick's car being loose. And Ross Chastain didn't help him, don't get me wrong, but he didn't make any contact. So it was nothing out of the realm of being a reasonable racing move, in my opinion. Chrome Diesel says, I don't know what the 10 team were thinking staying out there that long on old tires. I'm with you, Chrome Diesel. I don't get it. I don't get the strategy there. I guess Smithfields is not paying for tires. Says like dislike. That's, I mean, I guess like I'm still trying to wrap my head around what they were thinking with that one too. So yeah, I just don't know. I can imagine hearing the Bush brothers snoring like old men. Says RJ. So there you go. I think they both wear the breathe right strips, if I'm not mistaken, too. T Van says, "Please, no more rain." Well, if it rains at Coda, it's not a big deal because they'll just race anyway. They'll qualify in it too, so I mean, you could get it either way. Logano on fire again. Great race though, says Damon Cuss. Yeah, Joey Logano, he made the right move at the end. Even though Brad Keselowski winning would have been a much better story, and that would have been more fun to tell and talk about. Joey Logano winning is still a big story because he breaks the Auto Traders curse, because I don't think Penske had won with that scheme on the car yet. And he wins at Atlanta, a track that he dominated basically when he was racing Legends, and it gets him into the playoffs now. So you know he is going to actually have a chance to, not that it was ever really in question, but now you know for sure he's got a chance to defend his title. Ty Dillon might win Coda, but we will see. Says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, he might be the comeback kid, no doubt about it. Look, all jokes aside, I do hope Ty Dillon gets some good runs here. You never want to see a driver struggle. Like, I actually hate it when BJ McLeod struggles too, because I know BJ McLeod is at least a solid race car driver. Unfortunately, he just doesn't have the equipment underneath of him to show any of that. But yeah, it is all fun and games with the Earth 2 stuff. Stephen D'Amelio Jr., they're getting 50 minutes of practice at Coda. Hey, there you go. So there you go. That's going to be good too. I like that. They should get at least 50 minutes everywhere. 50 minutes is still not much, but it's more than we had. I feel like it's more than we had at South Boston this weekend. So who am I to say anything? Thoughts on Kyle Busch? Comments on lack of, and that was because of the rain though. Lack of respect. I think he's onto something there. Kyle Busch talking about there's no respect in the garage anymore. I think he's onto something. I think if people started driving like they had some common sense, then I think you would see that respect rise back up 100%. And respectful driving. I think the playoffs play into it too. So there's all kinds of stuff. RJ saying, T-Van, we had snow here in Tennessee. I don't like Ross, but he didn't touch Kevin. Kevin was already loose. Take some air and bye-bye, says Damon. Yeah, that's sort of where I stand on it too. Like, you can blame Ross Chastain for a lot of things. Like, I don't think he did much there. I mean, some people have argued he knows that move right there would cause Kevin Harvick to get loose, but I don't know. How else are you going to race it at a super speedway if you're not going to draft? So, I mean, some people just don't like Ross to the extent that they're blindly going to blame him for anything. And some people don't like Ross, and like you just said there, it still wasn't his fault. It just depends on your level of Ross Chastain dislike, I guess I should say. One wise guy saying Corey got a top 5. Yeah, Corey, he keeps stacking up these good finishes with a underfunded team. Hopefully somebody pays attention to that and gives them a good ride somewhere else. Hendrick looks like they've locked down all their drivers for a while, but it looks like there's going to be some openings at SHR. So maybe Corey LaJoie gets his name on that list if he keeps doing what he's doing. Joshua says, I bet Kimmy does good at Coda. Jensen also is good with variable grip. Even bet Seb in the rain in Canada one year, assuming he can adapt to heavy cars, that is. Yeah, if Sebastian Vettel got in here and drove Xfinity or Cup or whatever he wants to do, I think that would be pretty cool as well. So that would definitely be something to watch for as well. But yeah, I think all the open wheel guys at a road course are going to have a pretty decent fighting chance to have a good finish. I'm not saying they're going to be a threat to win or anything like that, but I think they'll have a nice chance at a top 15. I think that's pretty reasonable. Do you think Michael? Do you like the Michael Waltrip grid walk? Says OJ and Toothpaste. I don't have a problem with it. It adds something to the Fox broadcast. Now you can do different grid walks. Martin Brundle does the one for F1, so there's different styles to it. But I like the fact that both versions of those are loose and laid back. So I think it adds something to the broadcast. Not everybody's in love with it. I know several people that absolutely hate it and wish they would stop doing it. So it just depends on how you like it. In case it's not been mentioned, I watch enough commercials. I swear I watched 50 in just the last stage. Yeah, it's tough. They stack them up, Damon. No doubt about that. That's been an issue all season, and whether or not it's more commercials or less, like we know for a fact it was more commercials in the Daytona 500 because they tweeted out that stat trying to own all the people complaining, and it literally proved that there was at least 8 to 10 minutes more commercials than previous Daytona 500s. Yeah, they need to do something about it because even if it's not, the perception is not a good deal. AccuWeather showing a 60% chance of rain for Coda on Sunday, no chance on Saturday, says B1624. So there you go. We got a 60% chance of racing in the rain. We'll find out who is the Ayrton Senna of NASCAR if that happens. RJ, I'm in Indiana. It was 19 degrees and snowing yesterday, says T-Van. Ross thinking outside the box, trying again to pass people on pit road in the grass. That was pretty funny. That's what you chalk up to Ross Chastain-ish, as they say. Mark Barnum says, "What's up, everyone? Only watch the races in pieces. I was watching a 9-ball tournament this weekend." Hey, there you go. Mark Barnum there, a little pool shark. Didn't know about that, so there you go. Don't play pool with Mark. He'll take all your monies. RJ says, T-Van ever met Travis Bell? Glenn Park says, how about Harvick bringing back the 29 for North Wilkesboro? Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I love that paint scheme, obviously, because it's always it's one of the first things I put up in there. There you go, right there. Old Kevin Harvick scheme, always flying high. Always been my favorite Harvick scheme. My second favorite Harvick scheme is that silver shark tooth looking one that he ran there. But the red version, the flame licked red version that he ran at the 2004 Busch Clash. Can you believe Kyle has been in Cup for almost 20 years? Man, we are old, says RJ. Yeah, it's crazy when you see stats like that, ain't it? It's insane. I agree. Like you still remember him as being a young dude, but now he's got a family and he's got a son that's racing. So time stops for nobody or whatever they say. Let's see here. B1624 says agrees with RJ. We're old AF. Says Beast. So yep, there you go. Joshua says have a race fan, man. They better have the bleep button ready for Gunther. Yeah, so Gunther Steiner being in the booth. That's going to be interesting too, because that guy, he's a character. If you have ever watched the Drive to Survive on Netflix, that guy's a character. He is that has sort of made him a cult favorite in F1, no doubt about it. And speaking of F1, how about Kevin Magnussen getting scoring some points for Haas there, outrunning teammate Nico Hulkenberg. Those two have a pretty good rivalry, if you're unaware. But the Haas Automation team scoring some points in F1, that's always a big deal for the American fans because it doesn't happen as often as we would like, to put it kindly. Beast, I got a couple years on you guys, says Mark Barnum. Travis found the original General Lee, LOL. Kurt Busch and Gunther Steiner up in the booth for Coda. Good or bad? I think it's going to be pretty funny because I think Gunther Steiner has the potential to just be hilarious. Mr. Pearson, what's up, man? Good to see you on here. Stephen Emilio says Eric said that they were not getting any tire wear. That's why they didn't get tires. I still would have gotten tires. Yeah, they might not have thought they were getting any tire wear, but clearly they had some tire wear going on there, and clearly that car was tight too because it was the right front that blew out. At least is what it looked like on TV. Trackhouse should give Verstappen a shot. I would like to see Max Verstappen get a shot. I would like to see Daniel Ricciardo get a shot. Kimi Räikkönen has already been in there. I would like to see him continue to get opportunities. But there's also some other people like from IndyCar. I want to see Scott Dixon get a shot. I'd love to see Scott Dixon try some racing. There's a ton of people I'd love to see in that car. Could go on and on for days and days about that, no doubt about it. Jimmy Johnson racing at Coda, good or bad? I think it's a good thing. I think anytime Jimmy Johnson or anybody wants to race, it's always a good thing. It just brings more eyes to the sport. Damon says baloney for NASCAR president. I don't know if I'm ready for that job, but I normally I would say I've got big shoes to fill, but I don't there in that situation. So that's the only shade I'll throw at that one. Do you like the Coca-Cola commercials? You have to try it first. Yeah. I don't like them. they once was maybe good enough at best, but now they're really wearing it out. And the bad thing about Coca-Cola is they make all their commercials so far in advance that I don't think that they have another one to back that one up. So I think we're just going to have to deal with that one for at least the first or second quarter or however long they're going to run that thing. Kyle, I'm just a pool voyeur. I don't play, says Mark Barnum. There you go. I was sort of in the same boat. I worked at a bar and grill, and they had pool tables, and they were always trying to get me to play. And I was like, no, I don't want to play it, but I'll watch you guys play because I have to keep how long you've been, because they did it by the hour where I worked at. So I had to keep up with who was playing for how many hours, and they got a free hour if they bought dinner. It was a mess, and I hated it. But I watched a lot of pool. I picked up some stuff. When I did play, I just really irritated them because we would play 9-ball, and I would always just it's called a push. I would just push whatever I needed to win the match, and they were so used to playing for money for cash per ball that they weren't used to just playing the pure game where you just go for the win, and that's all I did. I just went for the win. All right, enough of that tangent. Anyway, let's see. What do you think about Haas Automation getting caught supporting the people that built the Berlin Wall? Says Ronald Coleman. So I read the article, and I meant to make an episode about it, but it's going to be a lengthy episode. I read the article from PBS, and I'll say this about the article. They are really stretching because the group that is selling the equipment to the people that built the Berlin Wall is not Haas Automation. It is a vendor of Haas Automation. And when that particular event over there started going off, Haas Automation stopped sending equipment to them, and they terminated the contract. However, that group had already paid for X amount of machines, and so Haas was on the hook for those machines. So Haas did have to send them those machines. They, in turn, turned around and gave those machines to the people who built the wall. And because of that, that is where the person that wrote the PBS article drew the conclusion that Haas was helping those people. So I think at the very best, it's a stretch. All I'll say about it is this. I don't know who Gene Haas pissed off, but that is a hit piece if I've ever seen one. And that's just my take on it. I need to do some more research on it, but that is my initial take on it from what I've read. And when Haas gave their response to that article, they said essentially the same thing I'm saying here, because if you read both of them and you see exactly what they're saying, and PBS and the writer of that article have even acknowledged that they are making a leap to say what they're saying. So in my opinion, it's just a hit piece. But that being said, it could be true. I need to investigate it further before I open my big mouth about it. But those are my initial impressions about it, or at least before I open my big mouth about it on a pre-recorded episode that will be torn apart by people on both sides of the issue. I don't follow Eric in the 10, but the guy just can't seem to catch a break. He's talented, says Dame. Yeah, 100%. Like, he's had bad luck. He's been part of the bad luck game, no doubt about it. Beast says, shiner light and blonde here. Got it in the kegerator. Oh, kegerator. I like that. Let's see here. On the post-race show, standing behind Tyler Reddick, you can see Danny B and Black Flags Matter. Hey, there you go. That's what's up. Really cool to see them out there. I don't know if you guys saw it, the pre-race, but Black Flags Matter was in the pre-race, so that was pretty cool. Always good to see a YouTuber getting some shine like that, and he did a great job with his part in it. So let's, Mark Barnum, glad Haley had a decent finish this weekend since she had all the NASCAR women's name on her truck. Yeah, so like when the guys in the truck series actually allow her to finish a race, she does pretty good. Let's see here. Alonso got a BS penalty. Should have got P3. They reinstated him, OJ and Toothpaste. That just broke as I was fixing to do this. He got reinstated. He did end up finishing third. We should get Tim Allen in NASCAR. He started the race one time. He was a pre-race starting guy one time. Let's see. What should NASCAR do with Atlanta moving forward? They should take the super speedway package off. I'm not a fan of it. I give it one weekend in 2024 and reduce Cup race to 300 miles. I think they just need to take the super speedway package off of the cars, and it would race better because you're going to have a lot of tire fall off going forward from here. Beast, I'm the only woman here who grunts like Tim, LOL, says RJ. Hey, NASCAR fans, much love from Reno. What's up, Master Bake? What's up, Reno? Nevada, always a fun state to visit as well. Let's see here. Beast laughing at that one. Chrome Diesel, thumbs up to from Beast there as well. RJ saying, should I break a dishwasher? Says RJ. Let's see. Beast 1624 says when that need to try it first commercial comes on, My daughter's dogs get upset. It is kind of an irritating tone, so I could understand that. They've got much more sensitive hearing than I do. But even people without sensitive hearing, that's a screechy voice. How about that national anthem? That dude did a great job with the national anthem until he tried to go for it on that last note, and I think he even surprised himself with how high he went. And it just didn't fit the rest of the song. Because if you saw his face at the end of the national anthem, even he was surprised. Don't think that note went the way he wanted it to go. So that was that was pretty funny as well. But yeah, that you got to try it first. That tone in that song that's a very irritating voice. Let's see here. By the way, those of us stuck in California appreciate the late show. Love, buddy. I appreciate it, Damon. I figured I would irritate the East Coast with the late start time on this, and I will irritate the West Coast with the early start time of the other pre-race show. So as long as I'm being equally unfair to both coasts, I can't be accused of having an East Coast or West Coast bias. Let's see here. Chrome News, I would appreciate if they featured Coke Racing family drivers instead of I need to try it first. I agree with that. That's the whole point of the Coke Racing family. I do remember back in the day, they used to have Coke specific commercials with all of the drivers in it. They were really cool. I wish they would get back to doing that. They might have something in the pipeline for later this year that we don't know about, but I would like to see that again in the future. Chrome Diesel, I would appreciate if they, I just read that one. Whoops. RJ says, I think Dale Jarrett snores. Oh, man. Going in on old DJ. Let's see here. Beast says probably he's old as me and might snore like a bear. Wait, what? They reversed Alonso's 10-second penalty? Yeah, I read it either on Instagram or Twitter that he got reinstated to his third place finish. So he did get third place in the F1 race. If what I read on Instagram or Twitter was correct, and I'm pretty sure it was because I only follow like verified, respectable sources on those two platforms for the most part. M43 video says funny drivers retire to spend more time with family, then join the TV deal, and they are still at the track every weekend. Funny how that works out, right? Dan Patrick once talked about it. He's like, yeah, when I retired from ESPN, I was like, I'm going to spend so much time with my family. It's going to be great. And he said like 2 weeks into it, I was figuring out how to do my own radio show. And that's how, Dan Patrick got to it was Audience. And now it's, I guess he's NBC Peacock or whatever. But that's the story of the Dan Patrick show. Pretty cool show. One of my inspirations as well. Dan Patrick's the man. Sorry, not an F1, not an F1 fan. Sorry, I know I'm not an F1 channel. Oh, don't worry about it, dude. I'll talk about a little bit of everything. No worries. Yes, Alonso's podium was reinstated. Says Napa Race Fan 927. Yeah, most of us here do follow at least one other motorsport. So you're good. You're good to ask any question. I might not know the answer to it, but if I do know the answer, I will try to answer it. What's your least favorite state? Says OJ and toothpaste. I don't know. I haven't been to all of them, so it wouldn't be a comprehensive list. I got a lot of speeding tickets in Virginia, so I would have to lean toward that because in Arkansas, they laid me out in the road like a starfish one time because I was driving a rental car and I've got long hair. So I got profiled for apparently trafficking. Probably Arkansas and Virginia just because their traffic cops are really irritating. So it would have to probably be a toss-up there. But all the people in every state I've met have actually been really cool and chill. But like they're just really aggressive with the traffic stuff in Virginia and Arkansas. So probably those two are probably my least favorite to drive through. But all the places I've gone so far, I haven't met like a ton of jerks. Every state has its quirk. Like Arizona, they don't have roundabouts. They've got these really massive 4-way stop signs. And everybody in Arizona is laid back until you get in traffic. Then everybody in Arizona is hyper aggressive. So apparently that's where all the aggression in Arizona comes out. But other than that, everybody in Arizona was chill. But traffic, boy, there's no games with traffic in Arizona. So everywhere is a little different. But probably Virginia and Arkansas, just because like I'm always scared I'm going to get a ticket. So I just got to like creep and then. I hope my cruise control doesn't, speed up too much when I'm going downhill and stuff like that because they're just pulling people left and right. It's a pain in the butt. Let's see here. Beast, I love both you guys. Provocative F1's pre-race grid walk was almost as bad as Fox's today. Richard Hole says, not a Dan Patrick fan, but I am a Keith Olbermann hater. Yeah, Keith Olbermann's an interesting story, man. Like he was so beloved when he did the midnight edition of Sports Center, basically what they used to call the mothership episodes and stuff. But then Keith Olbermann just took a hard turn to the left and turned off half of his fan base. And he's just said some outlandish stuff. He had his own political TV show for a while. He went to a very far extreme, and he's turned a lot of people off. So I think a lot of people feel what you're saying there, Richard. Let's see here. RJ says Dan Patrick puts me to sleep. LOL. He was the man. Like he's later. The show is a whole lot older now, but when he first did like his own version of the show, not the ESPN version of his talk show, that thing was pretty good. Him and Colin Cowherd, basically, that's who I listened a lot to on radio back in the day when I was driving back and forth. They were pretty good. BB, totally agree on your state choices. Yeah, like it's the traffic cops are rough in those two states. You said you like history. If you could time travel to what year, what would you go to? King, first off, I do like modern amenities. So if I could time travel, we're going to have to start after the Industrial Revolution because I like my running water and I like hot water. So I have to start somewhere in there. But what would be an interesting time? Like the 60s, I think, are overrated. That was just a lot of turmoil and stuff. I think very similar to what the turmoil is now. So that's kind of overrated. A lot of people sort of romanticize that. They're probably from a NASCAR perspective, socially, there were things obviously not great about the 40s, but probably post World War II 40s, like when they're just coming back from that, and the NASCAR races then, because those NASCAR drivers were just built differently because of what they had been through in World War II. I would love to just see how those guys operated back then because they were racing with leather helmets in convertible cars. And it's like they just didn't care because they had been so close to leaving the planet in World War II from some of the stuff they had did over there. Anyway, I would love to meet some drivers from that era. So probably like that era of NASCAR, like late 40s, early 50s. I would love to see that. Plus, I'm a big, I like Elvis even before the movie, way before the movie, to be honest. But it would be cool to see Elvis do a live performance. Hank Williams Sr., I'd get to see him do a live performance. So there's just some cool things from that era that would be cool. There's also some things from that era that would suck. So, I mean, do the math. You know what I'm talking about. So let's see here. Isn't Curtis Turner from Virginia? He was nutty. Yeah, Curtis Turner, he's the man. He's pretty good. Pops is what they called him. You ever been to Del Taco? I have been to Del Taco quite a few times, actually. Del Taco is not bad. Let's see here. Iceberg mentioned in his post-race stream that Atlanta going down through time. Pack racing won't stay long, but become spread out. Also a potential to be like Darlington because of the banking. I think so, too. I think he's 100% accurate on that because I think the longer this track stays there, the more wore out it gets. That bottom groove is going to be gone. I think that bottom groove is gone as soon as next year, to be totally honest. Do you want the Niners to get Lamar Jackson? I think they'd be fine with Lamar Jackson. He wouldn't be my first pick in that offense. But I think, look, we showed last year we could win with whoever at quarterback. Getting Lamar Jackson at quarterback, I mean, that's only going to help us, right? So getting an all-star at quarterback is 100% going to help us. I didn't have a problem with Chase Purdy. Like I think we could grow with him. A little fragile, and then we don't even know who we've got behind him because that dude, whatever reason I can't think of his name right now, but he only gets like 1 or 2 starts and he gets injured. But yeah, Lamar Jackson will be. I'm not gonna say he would be a great fit, but our offense is such a thing that you can sort of be. You can adjust our offense to fit whatever the quarterback style is. So I would like to see Lamar Jackson. However, that being said, I would take Tom Brady over Lamar Jackson any day of the week. That's who I've always wanted. Ever since Tom Brady retired the first time, I was like, man, come on, be a 49er. He used to be a 49ers fan back in the day. So Tom Brady is who I would lean to. But Lamar Jackson would definitely be in the top 3 or 4 there. No doubt about it. I thought Derek Carr would have been a good fit too, but obviously he got snapped up by New Orleans, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I'll just wait for the season to roll around. I'm a super casual NFL fan. I'll be the first one to admit that. I watch all the 49ers games, but I don't really keep up with the off-season stuff as much as a lot of people do. Have you played GTA or Red Dead Redemption? I played the first Red Dead Redemption, not the one that everybody's playing now. I played San Andreas, I guess was the one I played back in the day. But I was more of a I played a little bit of Halo, but the probably the game I spent the most time ever playing, aside from like racing games, like Forza, well documented on the channel. Forza has been the game I played the most. All the Forza renditions, all of them. But probably Destiny 1, and halfway through Destiny 2, before they did the Black Vault or whatever. I was playing the crap out of Destiny, but then I started working on late models, and no, I have no time for that anymore. So I don't even have a system anymore, aside from an old Xbox that I use as a DVD player because it's got the Blu-ray thing in there. Let's see here. Life before tech was so much better, says Mark Barnum. That's debatable. That's debatable. I think it was more peaceful. I think there's a sweet spot where you've got warm water, but you're also not forever connected with everybody. So I think there's a sweet spot in there. Maybe that Deadwood era. If you watch the TV show Deadwood, maybe somewhere in there. Are you as clumsy as Tim Taylor, says RJ Bansma? I hope not. I don't think so. Fly Guy Only says no on Jackson. I don't know. I think just because the only thing the 49ers essentially don't have an all-star in is quarterback. So I don't think it would hurt us at all. Plus, if you're throwing to those type of weapons, I mean, and then you've got Lamar Jackson. Like, you couldn't rush us. You couldn't double McCaffrey. Like, what are you going to do? And George Kittle, like he's like unique at the position. So I just don't know. I don't see anybody really stopping that with Lamar Jackson back there. But I don't see anybody stopping that with anybody back there, as long as all four of our quarterbacks aren't injured at the same time. So I mean, it sort of is what like Philly hurt our quarterback. Like if Philadelphia hadn't hurt our quarterback, I like our chances to go to the Super Bowl there. It is what it is. What year did you leave the Amish? LOL, says Richard Hole. I don't know. Probably early on, probably pre-beard. I was pre-beard Amish, no doubt about it. My grandpa served in Burma during WW2. I wish he was here today to tell me more stories. I'm sure he has more stories I've never heard. Yep, and a lot of the veterans of that deal didn't like to talk about it unless they were talking to other veterans. So there might be a reason that a lot of those stories weren't told. I know my grandpa was like that. So a lot of veterans from that deal didn't like talking about it unless they were talking to somebody that was there. My favorite NASCAR game was NASCAR Thunder 2002 on the original Xbox, says Beast. Yeah, that's a good one for sure. I can't remember. Is that the year that they first brought back the Dirt Daytona? Because if it is, that's my favorite game too. I'm thinking it is. It's either that one or the one right after it. And then the Total Team Control was my second favorite. Kyle, I think OJ is stalking you. Might be. It's all good. Or profile or profiling. Escobar says the racing in Atlanta is atrocious. Well, they did ride around for the first two stages, but I don't know if it was necessarily atrocious. Once they started actually racing, it was pretty good. But it took them that long to sort of sort out their cars, and that's because they didn't have practice. If they had practice, they would have had this type of racing throughout the event, in my opinion. Beast, imagine if we had met Ricky Rudd, LOL, says RJ. Hey, there you go, Ricky Rudd, the man. Or one of them. How about Joe Logano, 22nd winningest Cup driver and locked into the chase again, says Jamie Schweitzer. So yeah, he definitely had a good day, and this is a track that he had a lot of success in Legends cars when he was coming up, cutting his teeth, trying to get good. And so it's a big win from that perspective. Also a big win because it takes the curse of Auto Trader off of the car. I get AAA and Auto Trader transposed because they both start with A's. But yeah, it takes the curse of the Auto Trader car away because that car, if you're a Penske fan, that car is basically cursed every time you see your driver with the orange and blue on there. It was a bad race until today. Now they got a dub with it. Ricky Rudd was a BA, says Beast, and there's no doubt about it. Calling it now. Kligerman and LaJoy both get a win this season, says one wise guy. I like your pick. I think that's a good pick. And I do think that without a doubt Parker Kligerman is going to get a win. Corey LaJoie, that's going to be more questionable, but I do like the optimism there, and I do think it can happen at a plate track. And if they can get some help on these road courses, I think Corey LaJoie can get it done on the road course. And if he gets a decent setup at a short track, we know he's a short track ace. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. And I would love to see both of those guys win, especially Parker Kligerman in the Xfinity. Of course, we've seen him win truck races already. One wise guy, that would be awesome. So there you go. Beast is agreeing with you. I think that would be one of the most popular things that happened all season if it happened, without a doubt. Will RCR park Austin Dillon and put Austin Hill in next year and let Dillon run RCR? I don't think that'll happen. What I do think will happen is charter somehow, some way, and they will get Austin Hill up there. Even if it has to be like an alliance where they just build and do all the stuff there and they just name slap the other team's name on it, they will find a way for Austin Hill, because I'm pretty sure they're not going to let that guy go if they can help it at all. One wise guy, are you wise? Are you a wise guy? A says RJ. LaJoie via Speedway. Oh yeah, Super Speedway. That's definitely going to be his best chance, because he's definitely become a Super Speedway ace. He's really good at short tracks too, and I think if they gave him a road course package, you could kind of see what he does at road courses. Because I have actually been impressed with how smooth he is at road courses as well. And I know some people are probably going to trash me for that, like, oh, look at his finishes and stuff like that. I'm just talking about eye test, visually watching him. Yes, he's spun out at road courses. All drivers have. What's the story with Kyle Busch today? He got spun out early. And he just basically was recovering all race, and he did a nice job recovering to get a top 10 there. So it doesn't look like he had a good race, but he did have a good race. He was up there leading at points until he got wrecked. When I hear Ricky Rudd, I picture him taping his eyes open. That was BA, says T-Van. Yeah, that's one of the ultimate Ricky Rudd moments there. One wise guy says my last name is Wise. So there you go. That's a pretty cool play on words. I like it. I like it either way. I liked it before. I like it even more now because it's a double entendre. The character RCR will the charter RCR will buy is going to be the 77. Ty is out and Hill is in. That's probably a pretty fair guess in my opinion. If I'm guessing, because I think there's a reason they sort of bought in. I think they have possibly bought into that team just a little bit. And that's how Ty got that ride. But that's just me speculating and starting unsolicited rumors. So let's see here. Are you Josh Wise? LOL. I don't think he is Josh Wise. He is a West Coast member. I don't think Josh Wise is from the West Coast, but I could be wrong. I don't know where Josh Wise is actually from. Will Ryan Blaney win next week? I'm calling Blaney winning next week, says Jamie Schweitzer. I thought he was going to win this week if you watch the pre-race show, but I guess he was speeding on pit road. That was a penalty, right? At some point, he got to be 3 laps down, and he came back from 3 laps down, and that was pretty tough. That shows you what kind of car he had. So I think without that penalty, I think you see Ryan Blaney up there contending for the win. He was the guy that pushed Joey Logano to where Joey Logano got in position to win the race. So obviously had a fast car. OJ and Toothpaste says that he is not. So there you go. No worries there. Let's not start jabbing each other in the chat here. Let's keep it clean, boys. B says after the stuff has come out with Kyle Busch's struggle at Gibbs, I am becoming a fan. If he wins, it won't be a bad thing. Yeah, I think when all is said and done, it's going to be a rare situation where everybody comes out a winner. I think 2311 is going to be good with their deal they've got with Reddick. I think Ty Gibbs eventually becomes a pretty good race car driver. I don't know how good, but I think he'll be a solid, serviceable race car driver at the least. And Kyle Busch is going to continue to be Kyle Busch at RCR. So I think this is going to be a rare situation where everybody wins. King says Ty should go work at RCR. The driving in the Cup Series hasn't worked out for him. Maybe when Austin Hill leaves, he just goes and drives the 21 car, and then you put Austin Hill in the 77. It becomes an RCR car, and so on and so forth. A straight-up swap would probably be good for both of their careers. Just like to hear BB's reactions to my questions. Yeah, you're good, OJ, man. I think they were just messing with you. But understandably, that can be a little harsh sometimes. So let's not stab each other and stuff like that. Let's see here. Like dislike, RCR needs to get him a cup ride, or someone else will cough cough. SHR. Yeah, so SHR has a lot of really good, talented drivers to pick from. Now that Kevin Harvick is moving on, and it's going to be interesting to see who they put in that car. Not only that, it's going to be interesting to see who they go after first, and if it leaks out who that is, whether they get them or not. I told dad jokes all weekend. He laughed at all of them. Hey, there you go. That's a pretty good one. Steven says Austin Cindric for the win at Coda. That is definitely a good pick. Austin Cindric either has mechanical problems or does good at road course races, so that's a pretty solid pick there. Oh man, RJ saying he is not happy with Coach or Gibbs, saying and Ty, Coach Gibbs or Ty. So he's not a fan of either one of them. So there you go. I predict Chastain not making the postseason in 2023. Oh, that's a hot take. He's off to a pretty good start, so I don't know. I think he'll make the playoffs, but it's hard to say. If he doesn't get a win, I could see a situation where a lot of guys just get tired of what they perceive to be over aggressive driving and sort of start paying back favors and things like that. Beast, I'm a Ross fan, but you make a good point. So there you go. He's off to a pretty good start though. Like points wise, at one point he was leading the points before Denny Hamlin took him out. So it could be a situation where they all band together in a clandestine cabal and just decide that they're going to start taking Ross Chastain out every week. So we'll see what happens there. Are there any NASCAR channels you don't like at all? There are, but I'm not gonna be that guy that puts them on blast. Definitely the ones with the auto-tune voice and that nothing but clickbait, and then it's like 10 minutes of something that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. So those are definitely irritating. But as far as individual creators, there's like one or two, but I'm not going to sit there and like dog them out because they're doing their thing, and a lot of them have way more subscribers than I do. So who am I to critique their style? But it's not very many. It's really just one or two dudes, and some of them I have some personal history with, which is why I don't like them. So let's see here. I thought Ty Gibbs would win right away. Not sure what's going on. It's probably going to take him like halfway through the year to. I think him and Noah Gragson. It's going to take them about halfway through the year before they start showing what they're doing. RJ says BB doesn't realize I'm a chick. I mean, it's hard to go off of. I think there's only a picture of a car, so. It is what it is. I can't. Apologies if I called you a dude, or I call everybody dude, so that's not. I don't know if I called you a guy. I don't think I called you a guy, but if I did, I apologize. Let's see here. Stewart-Haas has been racing. Without Harvick, none of their drivers would be top 20 in points. That's a fact. That's a fact. So that's one thing about Kevin Harvick that goes misunderstood. He is. Basically the setup guy. Same thing I said with Kyle Busch at Joe Gibbs Racing. A big thing they're going to miss with him. He's the setup guy when you get practice. Like basically a lot of people base their setup off of what he does. And that's going to be the big thing at Stewart-Haas Racing when Kevin Harvick leaves. Are they going to have another setup guy? And that's why I think the addition of Christopher Bell, if they can figure out a way to get him, would be huge, because I think right now him and Denny Hamlin are probably where most of the Joe Gibbs Racing setups are coming from. Chastain will take out AJ next weekend again, says Mark Barnum. Oh man, AJ will definitely pay it back in a minute. Stewart-Haas has to get a driver like Seabell or an up and coming young driver, says OJ. Yeah, I agree with you there. Honorable mention to Ty Gibbs this week, says Jamie. Yeah, Ty Gibbs with his best finish ever. In case you missed the very beginning of the show, Ty Gibbs with a 9th place. That's his best ever finishing Cup so far. So there you go. BB on the same page with those YouTube channels. My solution: don't watch. Hey, there you go. Same deal. Clickbait NASCAR channels are ridiculous, says King. 100%. I can't stand them at all. Caught the stream late, but I'm here. Sure you've covered it, but was listening to the in-car for Kyle Larson. He wasn't happy and just wished for better luck. Love to see the passion. Yeah, like he at super speedway races, he just has no luck. Like, and he was probably driving his best super speedway race that I've ever seen him drive, and it's just one of those deals. He got caught up in somebody else's mistake. Not trying to give Ty Gibbs a pass, but the dude is probably still dealing with trauma. There's no doubt about that, of losing his father after winning the championship. Memory just lost his father like 5 months ago, says Steven. Yeah. that's definitely a fair thing to look at with Ty. He'll never be the same person, but it'll take him probably quite some time to sort of get that swag back of being, Ty Gibbs, the race car driver that had all that swag that he had last season. Swagger, I should say. B says, I have one of the Sterling Marlin hoods from his Dodge days. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool score there. Clickbait YouTube is easy to see. I never click them, says Mark Barnum. Yep, that's pretty much. I do agree. They have a very specific thumbnail style. So they're pretty easy to spot for me. That's how I spot them, at least. Legacy is just off this year. If they keep going like this, I can see the GMS side of it selling within the next couple of years. Says Escobar. Yeah, I don't know. I think the GMS side is in there for the long run. But that being said, they're definitely off to a slow start. That being said, they can turn it around. It is still early, very early in the year. And Eric Jones did have a heck of a finish here. So I think they've got a really good driver in Eric Jones, and I think they'll have a really good driver if they stick with Noah Gragson. So I think they can turn it around. Might be a situation where it takes them halfway through the year. If you remember last year, though, they didn't start off on fire. I think we were just all expecting them to start off on fire this year because of the way they ended last year. So hopefully they can find their mojo and get that momentum. They got a good crew chief in Dave Ellens. So I think they're in a good situation. They just got to sort of be good. KM says Danny B. Danny B, I like Danny B. Danny B is one of the nicest dudes, man. Like, Danny B's a good dude. I like his channel, too. He's actually the first NASCAR YouTube channel I ever saw and came across and found. So he's actually one of my favorites. So it's definitely not Danny B. Escobar saying GMS. I mean, yeah, I got you, man. I knew what you meant. I got you, dude. Let's see here. Briscoe 23rd, Priest 26th, Amarola 27th for SHR. Yikes. Yep, it was a bad day for SHR. They've had a lot of bad days, unfortunately. Last week was a good week for them. This week, a bad week for them. A good week for Ford, though. Ford was fast this week. Timber Race, bad luck, Bit Larson. He had a car fast enough to win and mixed up with the leaders. For sure. And that's another thing. A lot of really good race cars got taken out. And unfortunately, we don't know who would have been, sort of there at the end. But that's the nature of plate racing or super speedway racing, whatever you want to call it. What are your thoughts on Junior's boys running over each other? It says like dislike. They got to figure that out. They cannot continue to do that. That is not sustainable for them. So hopefully they get that figured out. Will Jimmy Johnson lead laps at Coda next Sunday? Says Jamie Schweitzer. I don't know. I don't know. The petty GMS stuff, the Legacy Motorsports stuff has not been fast so far this year, but it was fast when he was driving it at the plate race. I think he's found a newfound passion for road course racing, and he was always pretty good at it. I'll say odds are I'll say at some point he leads a lap in that race. Yeah. I think he will by nook or crook because he's got nothing to lose, so he'll be going for it. Petty GMS was better than Legacy, at least this year so far. Dumb name, if you ask me, says Napa Racing Fan. I agree with you. And there's a reason I mess it up on purpose every time. Let's see here. Napa, Haley has more points because it's not memorable. That's what I was getting at. I wasn't not that I'm necessarily trolling them on purpose. Napa, Haley has more points than those three drivers. Hey, there you go. Haley's a good driver. Like she's just polarizing because she's a YouTuber and she wears a bikini from time to time and people can't stand it because she's, for the most part, good looking. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm old enough to be her dad, so I feel weird saying that, but it is what it is. Their team is going to click. Their team is going to click for a mid team when they do what they're doing. They're going to be really decent. I think so too. Hopefully they'll click sooner rather than later, though. Will Jimmy Johnson ever see Victory Lane again? I hope so. Danny B is awesome, says Beast. I agree. I think Danny B is the man. Napa Racing Fan going really. Yeah, I think the name. I don't know what you're talking about. If you're talking about the name, I'm just going off your last comment. I think the name is dumb as well. So yeah, let's see here. I heard Chevy supported teams are Hendrick, RCR Trackhouse, and I heard that an interview somewhere a few weeks ago. Yeah. I mean, Chevy supports more teams than that because they support Colleague too. But yeah, I mean those are definitely Chevy funded teams. RCR and Hendrick build all the motors, so that's for sure. Trackhouse is definitely Chevy supported. Colleague is as well. So I don't see either. The only one of those teams I see like a different manufacturer ever prying away would be Trackhouse, because Colleague sits on the same campus as RCR, and RCR is heavily affiliated with them. So I don't see them. It would be a major cost for Colleague to switch. So RCR, Hendrick, and Colleague will probably always be Chevrolet teams. Is Denny going to pay Josh Williams fine if he gets one? Says M43 videos. Yeah, I think so for sure. I'm very happy for Brad and how far he's come in that short time. Brought that fire and consistency back to Roush. Yeah, I think so too. Danny B has a lot of info on his videos. A lot of time and the research goes into one of his videos. Yeah, he's got a great. He's probably one of the better history channels, not just with NASCAR, but just one of the better history channels. Period. Yeah, Danny B. He's one of my faves. No stage cautions at road courses, good or bad. I say good, but Denny said on actions detrimental is bad because it can get spread out. So what? Road courses are all about strategy. So I don't know what Denny Hamlin is talking about there. Has he ever won a road course race? I'll have to look that up. So I don't know. I think he's just talking just to be, like I said, he likes to get headlines. So I got to disagree with him on that one. It's going to be hard going forward to know if Denny Hamlin is being real or if he's doing things for headlines now. So he's going to be tough to sort of figure out going forward. But I don't remember him ever winning a road course race. So I don't necessarily know if he's the best expert on giving opinions about road courses. Like if you're asking Chase Elliott or, one of the ringers that they got in there, what would be the best way to do a road course deal? I think that would be a much better person to ask. And I might be totally wrong. Denny Hamlin might be the man at road courses. I don't remember him ever finishing or ever like really contending for a win. I might just be totally way off. I might just be misremembering it though. That being said, if I wanted somebody's opinion on Pocono, Denny Hamlin would be like the first person I ask because he's pretty much the man at Pocono. I'm not trying to throw shade at Denny Hamlin. I'm just saying sometimes he says stuff for for views on his new channel, or new show, I should say. RJ Bansma says real Radman is a sellout. So I mean, I don't know. That's one I've never actually watched any of his stuff. I've heard the name, but I'm not exactly sure what he does. I can't speak to that. Sounds like Hendrick might get a lesser infraction and fine since the louvers were not used in the race, says one wise guy. I don't know. We're just got to wait and see how that one plays out. I think they're going to get a penalty either way, and either way the penalty is going to hurt. At the very most, they might get it reduced. But I think it's going to stand all the way if I just had to guess off the top of my head. But I don't know. We're just going to let it play out. Danny B works for NASCAR's behind the scenes, says Mark Barnum. He might. I don't know. Let's see here. Was Classy of Amarola to apologize to his team, but that was his crew chief. Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, I agree with, like, staying on tires that long, I just never understood the move 100%. It was during an interview with Justin Marks. I think Chevy supports those three teams more than others. He was shutting down rumors of switching to a different mate, says Escobar. Yeah, for sure. And I would group Colleague in there as well because Colleague is basically getting the exact same stuff that RCR is getting. I'll just go ahead and tell you that because it is literally on the exact same campus. I mean, if you ever go visit it, like you'll understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. Denny Hamlin has one road course win at Watkins Glen. Okay, so I stand corrected, and I will shut up. Denny Hamlin is in fact he is a road course expert. So I was wrong 100% there. And RJ says Denny Hamlin can be a grifter at times. He's just a YouTube hobo like the rest of us, trying to get views and clicks to pay the bills. So let's see, or in my case, the truck payment. So let's see. Denny Hamlin don't ever know what he is talking about. That's why I don't watch his podcast. He knows what he's talking about. I just don't. When I think of people who are really good at road courses, for whatever reason, his name doesn't pop into my mind. But he has won before at a road course, so I was just wrong about that. I'm just not remembering it the proper way. KM says I agree about Radman RJ. So KM is agreeing about Radman with RJ there. I'll have to watch Radman. I'm not familiar with his content, so I'll have to check him out. I guess I'll just go to the one of the first videos he made, and I'll look at a current video, and I guess I'll try to figure out what's going on there. KM Malad has white knighted for Motorsports Games. Oh man, here we go. Here we go. Jamie Schweitzer, Black Flags Matter is a good NASCAR themed YouTube channel. Yeah, and just in case y'all missed it, he was featured today in the pre-race. So if you didn't see the pre-race, check that out. I'm sure it's going to be on the NASCAR channel. That was pretty cool. He's a good dude too. Let's see. Denny Hamlin would have had a win at Sonoma if Tony Stewart didn't knock him out of the way in 2016. Hey, that's right. He also would have had the Indianapolis road course win if Chase Briscoe hadn't knocked him out of the way. So there you go. He's definitely a good road course racer. I just don't know why I don't think of him as a road course racer. I don't know. I just think of him as like a short track specialist and a super speedway specialist for whatever reason. But he's Denny Hamlin, so like he usually finishes top 10 in points. I don't know. Stupid comment by me. That's all I can say about that one. Let's see here. Our Motorsports is also out of the RCR complex, but they don't have the support of Chevy. Just what they buy from RCR. So there you go. That's a fair statement too. Nothing wrong with figuring out what you can figure out. Single file racing on super speedways is drivers being lazy or just playing it smart. Final segment was good racing today, though, says Nicole Wembley. Yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it as well. I think they were just trying to be smart, especially that first stage because they didn't have practice. They were just trying to figure out how their car was and stuff like that. But then when they started racing, you saw it was just really difficult because if your car was the least little bit loose, as you saw with Bubba Wallace in the very beginning of the race, you could wreck by yourself. And then later on, Kevin Harvick, when Ross Chastain took the air off of his bumper, he was unable to control his car too. Even though Chastain never made contact with him, would like to make that very clear. Harvick's car was just a little too loose, and I don't think Ross did anything wrong there, in my opinion. Denny Hamlin is really good at Darlington also. Other than that, you're right on. Says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't trying to like throw shade at him. I'm just saying it's going to be hard going forward to figure out where he's being real and where he is saying things just to get traction on his show. So I guess that's all I was sort of getting at there. Man, I really like watching. A guy I really like watching is kicking asphalt in short track racing more than NASCAR. But Boo Carlisle. Yeah, Boo Carlisle is the man. Chris R. Good comment there. So if you like short track racing and you're not following Boo Carlisle or you've never heard of him or haven't seen it, it's called Kicking Asphalt. Go check him out. That guy is so good at bringing like race day vlogs. He gets you all the in-car. He gets you. He's basically embedded in the team those weeks, and you just get an up close and personal. Not only that, but he races himself, and you see some of his own vlogs and stuff like that. And he's got his dad involved. Like it's a whole good thing. I've met him. We're actually friends. So he is a really good dude. What you see on YouTube is what you get. He's not out there putting on a fake personality for YouTube. He's one of the best guys you'll meet. So definitely check out Kicking Asphalt with Boo Carlisle. I'm glad y'all brought that up. Because he's one of the best YouTubers out there, and he should definitely have way more subscribers than he has, no doubt about it. Thanks for this race day live stream, BB. It has been a ton of fun. No problem, Beast. And I'm probably about a couple more minutes here, and I'm going to sign off because it is getting sort of late in the evening here for me. The one bad thing about the West Coast friendly start time is it's really late for me. But we'll get it knocked out here. First half of the race was pretty much a practice session, says Chrome. Yeah, I agree with that. That's the bad thing about NASCAR not giving them practice. Like they're going to use the first half of the race or the first stage as practice. At least they didn't have as many cautions as the Xfinity. Yeah, that's a great thing. At least it wasn't like a wreck fest. I was expecting it to be a wreck fest like Xfinity and the trucks, but it was not. So they surprised me pleasantly there. Weird it took Logano this long to win in a non-Shell Pennzoil paint scheme with Team Penske, says Nap. Yeah. That is pretty crazy that they had the Auto Traders deal. I think he's won with some other ones, but I might be totally wrong. But it is weird that not only Joey Logano, but all the other drivers for Penske have not won with the Auto Traders deal. It was sort of some of the Penske fans had been telling me that it's a cursed paint scheme, and that's how I sort of knew about it. I watch more grassroots racing, but Racing America, Flow Racing, and Dirt Vision, especially for World of Outlaws, are very expensive. Says Napa Racing fan. Yeah, it's sort of a bad situation where you got to pick one. But if you've got Flow Racing, you can typically see our car because we're either at South Boston or we're helping somebody on the cars tour. So that is the one you can see the cars I help on the most, because if you watch South Boston, we'll pretty much always be there, and we're going to be helping. I think we're going to be helping some people in the cars tour this year. Not certain how often I'll be there, but I know Craig Moore Racing will be helping them. Thoughts on Harvick, and it'll be Tate Fogelman. So thoughts on Harvick making the postseason in his final year. He'll make the postseason, no doubt, and I'm hoping he makes the Final Four. He's been off to a good enough start that I think he can get it done. Ryan Fussner just finished the race. It's good to see Keselowski in the top spot, strong all race. He's going to win one soon. They have a lot of speed. I agree with you 100%. I love it when you do these live streams, BB. You do a great job yourself. Thanks, T-Van. I do my best. Glad y'all like them. My favorite driver may be Chase Elliott, but I'd love to see Kevin Harvick win the All-Star race in the 29. RCR hasn't been good since he left. I think RCR has been good. I think unfortunately Austin Dillon is a really good driver, but he's just not an elite driver like your Kyle Busch's and Kevin Harvick's. So I think RCR has actually been good for probably the last 3 or 4 years. But they just didn't have that superstar talent to take him to the next level. I think Tyler Reddick would have been that guy if he had stayed, but he decided to leave. So when you plugged in Kyle Busch, you kind of saw what RCR's got this year. But yeah, I'm glad we got him too. AAA is the cursed one, says Jamie Schweitzer. Hey, there you go. AAA is definitely one of the cursed ones. So we need to win in AAA. But I don't think if they've won in the Auto Trader car, it hasn't been very often. Or maybe I'm just thinking about Joey Logano with the Auto Trader car. Maybe Brad Keselowski has won in the Auto Trader car, but I'll have to look that one back up. I thought it was a very smart race by everyone, says Steven. Yeah, it was. I think they played the race the right way because they didn't have practice. Let's see. Have you watched Cletus McFarland? Yeah, Cletus McFarland's the man. He's pretty funny. I love what he's doing for the sport. No doubt about it. T-Van says, I'm stupid. What is Flow Racing? No, you're not stupid. Flow Racing is a subscription service, sort of like Netflix, except you can watch all the racing you can possibly imagine on that one, whether it be dirt or grassroots stuff. Like, they've just got tons of racing. They also have regular TV you can watch through Flow Racing as well. So a lot of people talk about just the racing on Flow Racing. There's tons of other like just regular channels you can watch on Flow Racing as well. With Elliott absent, NASCAR is lacking superstars, says Chrome Diesel. Well, it's definitely lacking its most popular driver. So there's definitely going to be a dip because of that. I can see the Cars Tour growing, and maybe in a few years they can grow it to a more national audience and evolve the cars a little bit. Well, I think that's definitely going to be what happens. I think you're going to see. I think you'll see teams like Colleague and GMS. Kevin Harvick's probably going to have a car in there when he retires, KHI. So you're definitely going to see the big cup teams, much like what Junior Motorsports is doing. You'll definitely see those big cup teams have late model teams here coming soon. And it'll just be another feeder series. So that's eventually, in my opinion, what the Cars Tour is going to turn into. But it will be good to have a solid late model touring presence. So it'll definitely be the creme de la creme of late models. I think it's going to price out a lot of your regular guys. I think it's going to sort of replace ARCA or it'll be more like ASA back in the day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. But I think at some point, I'm not saying, and I don't think there's anything they can do about it, but I think at some point it'll price out the small guys from doing it. But it sort of is what it is. We're talking about RCR. Does Austin Hill force a promotion this year? Yeah, I think they're going to get another team. I think they're going to get another charter and bring him up, even if they just have to buy into Spire and put him in that 77 and put Ty Dillon in the 21, basically do a driver swap. That's where I'm thinking about as far as that goes. Do you think the number 7 wins in Cup this year, and at what track? I think he has the possibility of winning. I'm not going to predict him to win, but I think he has a great possibility to win, and I think it'll be either at a plate track, and I could also see him getting a win at a short track if they give him something to work with at a short track. T-Van says, okay, thanks, Napa. I can tell you just skipped right over my question about Josh Berry, says Mike Menzer. I did skip over it, but not on purpose. I just didn't see it. What was your question about Josh? Let's see if I can find it here. So what are your thoughts about Josh Berry? Could he be running for a cup ride for 2024 if he keeps running top 10 or top 20 finish? Yeah, I think Junior wants to bring him up anyway. I think Josh Berry, his deal is more about sponsorship and Dale Jr. starting a race team. I think if Dale Jr. starts a race team, let's say Dale Jr. starts a race team next year, he finds 2 charters. I think his 2 drivers would be Martin Truex Jr. and Josh Berry. I think 100% that's how Junior Motorsports and Cup would be started. So I think that's probably Josh Berry's quickest way to Cup. But I think Stewart-Haas Racing, I think that's probably somebody that they're looking at as well if they can't get a Christopher Bell or somebody like that, because Josh Berry is definitely, he could be your setup guy. He knows how to do all that stuff. He was basically in training to become a crew chief because he didn't think his career was going to work out. Then all of a sudden he just busts out. He was already great at running late models, but he just had it just broke his way, right guy, right time in late model racing. And I mean, you know the story of how he got where he's at now. Brad was the one in the AAA car. It was at Atlanta. There you go. There you go. So Brad Keselowski has one in the AAA car. Let's see here. Thanks for another great post-race show. Good night, sir. 3 and 23. Go, Joey. There you go. Joey Logano fans in the chat there. As always, good to have you on here. KHI is coming back. That's cool. I didn't think of that. I'm pretty sure it'll happen at some point. Keelan's got a race somewhere. Let's see here. Brad K won Atlanta in the Auto Trader scheme also 2017 and 2019. So there you go. I was just thinking about Joey then. So there you go. Let's see. Speaking of ASA, I heard Kenny Wallace talking about it last week, about it coming back or something like that. So there you go. Yes, NASCAR bought the license to ASA, so it's coming back somewhere for them. So we'll see what that happens. They might have already announced what it is, and I think I said something about it way back in the day, but I got to look it back up. I like seeing SX and motorcycle flat track being shown on TV more. That was actually on today before the pre-race for NASCAR started. They had like the flat track motorcycle racing going on. The KTM Red Bull guys won that race. The replay World of Outlaws on CBS Sports on Xfinity Cable. Hey, there you go. World of Outlaws is awesome too. Napa Racing. You from the Midwest. Joey's first 2 wins were in a Home Depot car. All the ones after that were in Shell Pennzoil, except today in the Auto Trader car. So that's what I was thinking of. Joey Logano. There you go. Joey Logano hadn't won in any other scheme other than Pennzoil aside from Home Depot. So there you go. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking it was Penske wide, but it's just Joey Logano. Dale Jr. said he hopes Berry gets a cup ride in 2024 and doesn't have to wait for JRM to get a charter. Yeah, but I think JRM should go ahead and get it over with and rip the Band-Aid off and just go ahead and get that charter and come on up the cup and just sort of be done with it. I think they're just posturing for more driver money, or I'm sorry, for more TV money for the owners. I like the 77 RCR driver swap idea. Ty isn't bad. I think he deserves a solid career Xfinity guy. Yeah, I'm with you there. And also a reserve or a bridge driver for RCR in the next decade, says Ryan Fussner. Yeah, that's a good analysis of that. That's sort of where I stand on it as well. Napa Racing Fan says he is from the Northeast. I want to see Berry run in at least 2 seasons in a good cup, good ride in Cup. Stewart-Haas maybe. So that would be cool. I think Stewart-Haas is definitely looking at Josh Berry, and you know, I feel strongly that they are trying to get Christopher Bell as well. So just the way Tony Stewart always talks about Christopher Bell, I feel like they're going to make a run at him as well. So I think those could definitely be 2 drivers to keep an eye on. I think Corey LaJoie is starting to put himself in that conversation as well. And then, of course, you've got to replace Eric Almirola. So, there's going to be 2 spots open. So, it's going to be interesting to see who fills them. But anybody that wants a good driver is definitely looking at Josh Berry. And also, the good thing with Josh Berry is, as I mentioned earlier, he is a setup guy. He can get you your setup for the entire season. How come Fox didn't give Darian's channel a shout-out if they had him on their program? Oh, wait, it's because they're terrified of YouTube. Oh, that's a good point. I did wonder why they didn't mention what his channel was, but either way, it was still cool to see him on TV. And you know, whether they mention the channel or not, we all know who he is. And if you don't, check out Black Flags Matter. Great channel, way more subscribers than me. So he doesn't need me to plug for him, but I will anyway because he's a good dude. T Van Berry looked very comfortable the last 2 weeks. Yeah, Josh Berry had a good run until he got taken out. So I mean, 2 weekends in a row, he's figured out the car, and he's figured out the car a lot faster than Ty Gibbs or Noah Gragson has. So I will say that in his favor as well. The Spire, he's also sitting in Chase Elliott's car too. So let's be fair to all sides involved. Does Spire sell the 77 Charter to RCR or JRM? If they sell it, probably whoever pays them the most money. that would be my guess there. But I think they would sell it to either one of them for the right price. Stewart will let Bell race outside of NASCAR, says King. Yeah, that's 100% what I'm talking about. I think Tony Stewart saw a window to get a really good driver there when all that news came out. One last thought out of the groove, Eric Estep is not trash. He is awesome. Yeah, I think Eric Estep's great. He's one of the nicest guys you'll meet too. Like everybody on the NASCAR Weekly podcast, from my dealings with them, they're super nice guys. I'll go ahead and say that. So 100%. Eric Estep, one of the nicest dudes. When I met him at Phoenix, super nice dude. Austin Hill needs to be in a cup for RCR, and his channel, I mean, speaks for itself. Like he's got I think 200,000 or more subscribers. Yeah, he's doing a great job. Austin Hill needs to be in a cup race in a cup car for RCR in 2024. I think everybody believes in that. I think it's the ASA Stars National Tour, says Escobar. Yeah, so that I think that's exactly what it is, and I think it's like a crate late model or something like that, or a crate pro late model or something like that. So I think that's what that is. Stuart Haas is getting ready to go through the same thing RCR went through when Harvick left there. That's a fair point. But I do think they've got some good solid drivers in the wings. I like Briscoe and Priest. So I think they do got a solid foundation there. But the other two drivers they put in to replace Almirola and Harvick are going to be critical for sure. Do you think a NASCAR charter is expensive? You think a NASCAR charter is expensive? Pay for a funeral, says like dislike. Hey, there you go. I've talked to Danny B from Estep and the guys a few times. He's always been super nice guy too. So yeah, there you go. I think all those guys are nice, in my opinion, from the times I've talked with them. So yeah. And with that, I think that's the last one I'm going to take for this one. I'm going to get working on the episode for tomorrow. Then I'm going to go to sleep and get to work. So until next time, I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Peace.